What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Appreciate you guys tuning in for another video. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos. Still doing 3 videos a week right now, so we don't want you to miss out on any of those videos. So please make sure you're subscribed, you got the notifications on, and all that good stuff. So today we're talking about a very popular technique, and that would be the Nico rig. You've seen it gain so much popularity here lately, especially with using forward-facing sonar. You can put your worm right on top of fish, and it's just a presentation that they really can't resist. But if there was one downside to the Nico rig, it's not very weedless. If you get that bait very close to a piece of wood, in a tree, a stump, something like that, a brush pile, due to the exposed hook that you have in a Nico rig, it generally likes to hang up, get caught up. You're gonna get snagged. You're gonna break these off and lose a lot of these hooks, baits, nail weights, the whole deal. But kind of come up with a little solution. This is something I've seen around a little bit, something I've been playing with for a little while, and I feel like I got a really good system down to create a weedless Nico rig that allows you to fish it in heavy cover. You can use heavier line, fish it in heavier cover, and get those fish out of the wood, whatever, but not hang up your baits every time you throw it in there. So I'm gonna walk you through the whole setup, and hopefully you guys can use something from this video and apply it to your own fishing and get out there and catch some more bass. All right, let's dive into it. So if you guys aren't familiar with the Nico rig in general, let's just set one up real quick. So I got, my buddy Drew's Nico worm right here. This is the Nico Rama from Big Bite Baits. Awesome little Nico style worm, but really any worm, straight tail worm, these bubble tail worms, whatever you want to call them, any finesse style worm will work great with a Nico rig and work great for this presentation. So basically, what makes a Nico rig is going to be a wacky style hook. This is the one I use exclusively. This is the Trocar TK137 in the number 2 size. That's the hook right there. I use for I use for all of my wacky worm fishing and Nico rig fishing. That's the hook I'm using right there, no doubt about it. So your normal Nico rig setup would have your hook through your worm, just like that. Okay, you always want to have the hook point facing up, not flipped around with the hook point facing down, because then you're going to lose a lot of fish. And then you take a nail weight. So this is the Epic Tungsten 1/16 ounce nail weight, and that goes in the head of the worm. So that is not going to change at all with the weedless version. None of this equipment is going to change. You're going to use the exact same worm, the exact same nail weight in the same place. You're just going to kind of rig it a little differently. So that right there, I would call that your standard Nico worm setup right there. That's how you're going to rig it. And like I said, that is a fish catching son of a gun right there. That catches bass anywhere you go. It's hard to beat. That little worm has tons of action, floats around really well. But due to this big exposed hook right here, if you get into that heavy cover, it's going to get hung up. So we're going to take this same hook and we're going to rig it a little bit differently. That kind of allows a weedless presentation, that you can still get that same action of pulling it from the middle, getting that unique action, but it's completely weedless. So you're going to take your hook point. Obviously this would be tied on to your line, but I'm not rigged up right now. We're just rigging a plain hook, and you're going to go a little bit above where you would typically start or where you would come through as you're rigging your Nico worm. I guess where you would start. You're going to start a little bit closer to the nail weight, and you don't want to go straight through the worm like I did there. So that pull, I went straight down through the worm. What you want to do is kind of go in at an angle towards the tail of the worm. So you're going to start a little bit ahead or towards the head of where you were before, and then you're going to go straight down through the worm, but almost at an angle towards the tail a little bit. okay? So I know it's kind of hard to see on the video here, guys, but it's through at an angle like this. If you can see my finger, it goes through the worm at an angle like that rather than straight through, more perpendicular. Okay, so now you're going to thread him all the way through. Obviously, this will be tied on, like I said, so there would be line running through the worm here, but I'm going to pull the eye of that hook inside the worm, and now you can rig him just like you would any other Texas rig style bait, a jig head, whatever. You just run the back end of the hook through the worm and kind of expose that hook right there. And now you have that same presentation of the line pulling from the bottom, pulling up, and you're completely weedless. You can pull this through any sort of cover and that worm is just going to slide right through it and never get hung up. So that right there, that is the way to rig a Nico worm and become completely weedless. And that's still going to get pulled, you know, as that line tie is down here, it's going to pull and pull him up and create that pull from the middle action that a Nico worm gets. And you know, the Nico Rama has the flat side on the back, so it really pulsates, and you know, that's kind of what you want to do with this, the same sort of deal. You want to keep that flat side of this worm where the hook comes out the back, if you will. The flat side is the back, and you want that hook point to be buried in the rounded side in the front. So that's it right there, guys. That is the weedless Nico setup. Hopefully you guys learned something from this. This is a very deadly bait right here. This is an excellent way to fish in that heavy cover with a finesse presentation and not go through a bunch of hooks, weights, breaking off, retying, all that kind of stuff. This is extremely weedless, snagless, and still catches a bunch of fish with that hook. So when a bass bites that, you know, that hook is gonna pop right out and hook that fish. So give us a shot, guys, and hopefully it will help you guys catch a few bass. So I appreciate you tuning in to this video. Leave me all those likes and comments down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and we'll see you guys next time.